also, when we jumped on the call, you said that I'm the one that transferred you from Android to iPhone, which I can't even remember that conversation.
You know what? Truly, you've transformed my life and you probably didn't even know it. Let's also talk about the fact that this mic that I was going to use for this call, do you know who encouraged me to buy this mic? You girl. You. And I still have it. And then also, iPhone.
Wow.
I was very anti-iPhone, but now I'm on the dark side and I'm happy to be there.
You know, it is very dark on this side. This is how they get you.
Yeah.
But why don't y'all are coming into a conversation where it's old friends just catching up. So we have so much to talk about, but we should at least give them background as to how we met in the first place. You moved to Phoenix, again, going to Arizona State University. Doesn't matter for everyone else. I went to Northern Arizona University. And we met at Power 98.3 as promotions assistants back in 2015. So almost a decade ago. So why don't you share your journey as how you got to Power 98.3? But a decade later, and it looks like it worked in our favor. So, I mean, Power 98.3 is obviously being a local, it being my hometown. We knew it as Power 92.3. So the fact to be for me working with them after all these years was wild, doing all of the high school tours. I was like, I can't believe this is my life right now.
So I think at that once I started at the radio station, and I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. The people that I met, right? But the things that we got to do and the events that we got to be a part of, and just it's definitely a family that no one would understand unless you had been in it, right? And being new to Arizona, I learned literally the cross streets. I learned what buildings were. I learned the culture. I had no friends. I made friends and made connections through radio, which was amazing. So I thought at the time that I was going to work my way into being an on-air personality. That was the dream. And I dabbled a little bit. I did a few fill-ins here and there. But I don't think, I mean, you know this. We talked a lot about this a long time ago. I don't think my mouth belongs on FM radio. So that was the dream at the time. No longer the dream. And then fast forward years later, several different jobs in several different industries. COVID happened. And just like everyone else, I was like, what has my life become? And decided to go back to school. And do I use that degree now even? No, absolutely the fuck not. I have it. So I went back to ASU later on, unrelated to radio. There was your long-winded answer.
I appreciate that. I mean, what are we here for? And that's what even before we got onto the podcast platform, y'all, it was so nice to know that I'm like, oh, I'm getting on with like Noey. Like we literally grew up with social media the way that it was. We were in radio when it was having the turn of Instagram and turning more to video. Like we were actually like in the thickets of watching it transform before our eyes. I'm curious of your experience in radio and how it led to you moving into podcasting and you saying like, oh, I don't have a mouth for being an on-air personality on FM radio.
At this point, I'm no longer podcasting. I still have a passion for the art. And I've always said, once you have a skill doesn't mean you can't niche it down in a different way later on in life. People are like, oh, you quit podcasting. I quit the particular project I was doing. But, so you had a big hand in me becoming a podcaster. You may recall you filmed my first YouTube video. And I don't even at that time, I think I just wanted to like make a name for myself. We were working in radio. And I wanted to kind of show, like, hey, I have this personality, like, put me behind the mic one time, you guys. We're still trying to hustle and just prove by, like, lifting speakers into vans that, like, we're noteworthy or anybody to be cared about, right? Sounds so terrible. But I'm like, I'm going to show initiative. I'm going to, get in front of a camera. And there wasn't a TikTok. There was no, like, this that we're doing right here with, like, this live sort of podcast. This was not a thing yet.
I still had to set everything up.
So, excuse me. So, you had filmed, it was almost kind of like an intro for my YouTube, and it was a play off of my name on Instagram was Gnome, Noey, family nickname, Gnome, Creatures of the Night. I've been a bartender for 900 years. I don't know why Noey Gnome rolled off the tongue. That was my Instagram name. So we made this YouTube video, and I think like my dogs were in it. We might have even gone to the bar that I was working at the time, I think, to like have me pour drinks. And it was like, what's Noey Gnome or something like that. And it was super cute, all thanks to you. I had no idea what I was doing. But and then that kind of spun off this like almost diary-esque vlog series for me where I would talk about being a bartender and talk about guys I was dating. And I'll never forget, you were the one who taught me to put this little guy up my shirt and then to film at like 11 a.m. because that's when the natural, this was before people had ring lights. Like, we were not cool. We were in the fucking trenches making this content. So I would sit on the floor with my dogs crawling all over me at 11 a.m. because the natural light was popping, and I'd sit super close to my window and I would make content about my life, just trying to make people laugh. And then one day, I'll wrap this up. A friend I went to high school with messaged me and she was like, I've seen some of your videos. Have you ever thought about podcasting? And I literally said, what's a podcast? I had no idea. She's like, that's what you're doing. And that was years ago. And then the podcast developed into a slightly more professional version of what I was doing on YouTube.
No, thank you so much for giving us that background. Thank you for giving us background on Noey Gnome. But, you know, we were just exactly what you're saying. We were just in it. I think I was barely holding a camera for the first time. So to have someone that can act as a subject and do all those things, like, it really, I appreciate you for putting in those anecdotes in there because it really warms my heart to know, like, wow, like, you never really know what sticks with people. You know what I mean? And how, like, what you're still using today to create this content, you're like, I'm still using it, you know? And I
have lights now. I have a studio with lights, but I'm sitting in front of the open window because K-Short told me to do that shit. I didn't realize it till right now.
And I was thinking about it the other day. I was creating content. And I was kind of Jimmy rigging it. So I had my tripod, things that. So I was like, I'm going to stack some boxes and put a table and put some books. I was like, why am I still operating this way? Like, there has to be an easier way. But because we were in, like,
it's a sickness. Sickness. My shit's on books right now.
And I think this goes to show everybody, you can't try and be sexy with it. You got to keep it simple. Like, it, you know, you got the natural light, you got some books as your tripod, like, figure it the F out, right? Yeah. So I'm so happy that you got into podcasting because exactly what you said, this is one thing I've always loved about you. It's like always a pretty face, but such a potty mouth. And I'm just like, how does she balance these two so well? So I want to talk.
I wish I could tell you.
That's what I'm like, I can't wait to have this conversation. I felt because right before we jumped on, we haven't talked in a long time and like really talked for over the course of the decade. And to be transparent, today I just felt this, like, I felt like I had to conserve my energy for this conversation. I was like, I just already know. No, it's such a good thing. I was just like, I got to conserve it because I already know our play off of each other. I'm like, man, we's about to go in. So I just want you to know, like, I appreciate you and I appreciate us being able to, like, synthesize the past decade and actually just really, again, I think a lot of times, and I know for you, we always get misconstrued to some way, but it's like, once you get into a conversation with us, it's like, whatever your preconceptions were, like, we're about to destroy the heck out of that. And so I just love that we get to come in as, like, these, like, accepted underdogs in a weird way. Like, you know, we are always allowed to be in this space, but there's always this, I speak for myself, maybe just this underdog where I'm like, I still don't quite feel like I fit in just quite yet in any of these groups. But it's like, I know when I talk to you, I was like, I feel like I'm talking like mano a mano, you know? So
yeah, I feel like we connected on that unconsciously back then. I feel like you and me, maybe we're not so much aware of that. I think, and again, I can't speak for you, but from the way that I've seen you and the deep conversations we've had in the past, you've always felt maybe trying to find your place because of the complex person that you are. And I felt the same way, although our complexities are rather different. I think that we've kind of always connected on this, like, well, we're just genuine people, so we should just, like, be friends because even though we're fucking different and weird, like, we can connect on that. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, we've always kind of been like, where is my place, whether it be in radio or in the culture. You know, I've always kind of been the Scottsdale version to your Phoenix, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1000%. And I think this is what I've been wanting to talk to you about for a very, very long time. Because if anyone's going to give it to me straight, it's going to be you. And I'm just say, I just appreciate it right now. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted to shed light on this because like I don't know the next time I'm gonna be able to talk to someone who's gonna be real about it. I don't know how many times the question is even asked of folks, you know what I mean, who walk in the vessels that they do, and to just give grace and be like, you know, like obviously everyone's human, but it's like I think it's very easy for us to brush off this group of people and be like, y'all got it easy though. You know what I mean? But I was like, there has to be a hard that we don't see and we don't know and we don't understand, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a lot of effort to present in a way that other people expect you to present. And I think it's been a slow shedding for me because I've slowly been working my way out of it. And then creating the new Instagram page really made me, I guess, enlightened about my relationship with social media and being able to separate the social media world from my real world. And I feel like for the first time in probably at least 8 years, they're becoming the same person.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's why I wanted to have a conversation with you. I was like, uh-oh. I was all like, there's a shift happening. And I was like, we don't talk enough about the transition. We don't talk about these moments where it's like I'm ready to evolve into the next version of myself. My last question on this.
Yeah.
Before we move into this next version of yourself that we're getting to know is when you are amongst these other beautiful people and in conversation, do like the depth of the conversations, like is it there, are y'all like just being performative amongst each other, like because I know you're a little firecracker and you got, you know what I mean, so I was just curious of what's like to be in those
Yeah.
spaces, you know. It's
I love that you asked
yeah.
this. I love this question. And I'm going to speak in generalities because this doesn't apply to every single female that I've ever met, worked with, been friends with. I genuinely lost friends over social media type stuff. People that I thought were my friends in retrospect probably weren't, because we've gone on a whole vacation where everyone's sole focus was social media and getting the angle and editing the photo. And I was like the one person that was just like, dude, do we have to do that like everywhere we go? Does this have to be? And I'm giving you like the real surface level of it. And I realized like I'm friends with people who invited me so that I can take pictures of them,
Yeah.
or invited me because of what I look like in a picture next to them.
Yeah.
So I think that I like being around women that know how to use it when it needs to be used, but that's not the sole focus. And I noticed when I was bartending, bottle servicing, XYZ, I've done everything under the sun in nightlife at this point. I noticed that I was around women that wanted the idea of what it looks like to hang out with me, what the aesthetic is that I bring versus who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And the one time I bucked back and tried to have a real conversation about those things, I'm not friends with those girls anymore.
Right. Very
So.
interesting. Again, because I'm like, we're just onlookers from afar. When it comes to speaking of, you know, folks wanting to be around you because of, you know, it's a vibe, it's a look or whatever, I'm just curious, you know, no, because I, you know, I know you, know, like, if any, I'm curious, you got to the point of the last time I checked your old Instagram, two things on that is you got to 13.8 thousand followers. Was it all that it's cracked up to be?
You know what? The only thing that still, straight up honesty, the only thing that I still love is if I go somewhere and I'm not using that Instagram anymore. This reigns true. I might run into someone at the grocery store that's like, Noey, what? Like, that's the coolest fucking feeling ever. Anyone says that it's not is a liar. Like, people call me Noey Gnome when they see me out. But otherwise, I mean, like, to put it to you this way, to go in the direction I wanted to in my career, there was a conversation that was that happened between my mentor and I didn't like. She's like, I know you have a big following, and I was like, following, making money, doing what I want to do, and wasn't a no brainer to start a new Instagram. So I don't really think it's worth a damn. And I think with the way things change in a few more years, it ain't gonna be worth a damn for anybody.
And it's crazy because we've spent a decade on that thing, doing the things that we were doing to generate that following and to do the thing. Yeah, I was just so curious. I was just like, I want to know. I want to know if it's all that's cracked up to be and what came with it, the good and the bad.
Well, it's truly like, if there's one thing I know how to do, it's pivot and try something else, right? So I feel like when I'm hearing myself have this conversation with you, it's like I already said, right? Okay, she was in radio. Okay, she was a ballerina.
Yeah.
Okay, she's worked for a magazine. Okay, she was a bartender. Okay, like, it's like all these, but I'm like, I'm gonna do what I need to do until my life looks the way I want it to look.
And how do you want it to look, Noelle?
Well, I want to own multiple properties, turn them into AirBnBs. No, I truly, and it sounds cliche, but I want the life to look like love. And when I say that, I want to wake up and enjoy the people that I'm around. I want to enjoy the conversations that I'm having. I want to enjoy the way I make other people feel. I want to be making money in a way that feels congruent with my soul. And it hasn't felt like that probably ever until the last year. I feel congruent.
Yeah.
Now, the money side of it could pick up a notch. We're working on it, but it's like I spent so much time with the money and just emptiness inside.
And now you feel like
I feel full, but now I just need to get the money tank to come match it, right? So better late than never.
I love that. And again, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And what I love about you is that, you're going to continuously work and progress towards what wants to be fully expressed through you, and that you're not going to stop at a chapter and just stay in that chapter because it's nice right now. You know what I mean? Exactly what you're saying. The money was nice. Soul wasn't so nice. Now you're like, okay, we got to switch it and trying to find that balance and that congruency. And it's like, that's freaking hard. A lot of people don't do that, will not do that. And that's when you see, folks aging out of certain industries. And and it's not because they're aging their bodies, but it's because they're not growing in their mind, spirit, and soul. You know what I mean? So the fact that you're pursuing that again, it's another reason why I've always loved about you. And I'm just like, okay, I was all like, this is a huge transition. I was like, this is, you know what I mean? Like, that's, I was like, I need to touch base. I need to touch base with my girl, see how you're doing. You know what I mean?
I feel like in so many ways, I'm the exact same person as when I met you, but also in so many ways, completely different, But most of the differences, it's just interesting how, especially America, like, we focus on career, right? Everything is about career. And if it isn't about career, then it's about your relationship or your partner. But I'm the same person, just what I do for money has changed several times.
Yeah.
It's interesting how we see that. It's like, oh, she's totally changed. Not really. I still got the same lame jokes. I'm still obsessed with dogs. I still drink coffee 7 times a day. I'm just in a different industry.
Yeah, but and to wrap things up, tell us 2 ways you have changed in the past decade.
I think that I am, well, certainly a lot more in tune with what I want instead of trying to match what other people see me as. I think I'm a lot more self-aware. And I think people in my life may laugh at this, but I am more patient. Patience has always been something I'm not strong at. And that's why I say people will laugh, because they'll probably be like, oh, you're the least patient person I know. But I have improved. And I think that for having that patience of, like, even transferring in the career and knowing that it's not just going to be like success right away. That was what always brought me back to the nightlife. I'd leave and then go back and then leave, and then, because I was like, I want to make money. And now I think I'm patient enough to realize that, like, true happiness and joy will eventually bring me what I want, but it's not an overnight process.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Any last thoughts, any last things that are percolating on your heart that you want to mark in this point in space and time?
Yeah, I'm just glad that we got to do this. I really would encourage people to take those risks. Again, sounds cliche, but that thing that you've been wanting to do and then telling yourself maybe now's not the time, it's never going to be the time. You have to listen to those voices. If something continues to repeat on your brain, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do this. You should definitely fucking do
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I love that. So where can they find you on
Yeah.
social media, my friend? On the thing that we love so much for the past decade.
Yes, we do. We do. It's Noey will know. Noey will
There it
know.
is. I love it. All right, y'all. Noe, thank you so much for being on the show. And I love that you've shared your tenacity over the past decade. And I'm just so excited to, again, witness your journey, whether near or far, and just so excited for this next chapter in your life. So, again, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you. And I'm so excited for connecting the dots.
Hey.
I love this for you. Long overdue.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Connecting the Dots. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring episodes. Make sure to join us next time as we continue to connect the dots with leaders and visionaries who are making a difference. Until then, keep striving for your next breakthrough and embracing your potential.